Alright, this is going to be fucking funny. Hello everyone, this is going to be a somewhat belated video response to the 4815, or Whitney as is known. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if his last name was Houston? But anyway, and his video about sex. Now, I freely admit that this is by no means the field that which I am most knowledgeable about. In fact, it's probably more like going to Kent Hovind and trying to have a intellectual discussion about transitional forms. But you know, damn it, if YouTube is not the place where people who don't know shit about something can talk endlessly about it, then frankly, what's it for? So you know, I'll plod along and see if I can make any semi-coherent sentences and make some good points. Let's see. Anyway, you don't have to be an expert in sex to talk about it, but there has to be some sort of minimum standard, surely. I mean, having sex is going to give you a perspective and understanding and experience that having sex is just not going to give you. You can read as many books as you want about the physiology, the psychology of sex, its place in today's society, different techniques, different positions, all that good stuff. But unless you, that knowledge is only going to get you so far. Your knowledge is only going to go up to a certain point. But unless you've had sex, then people are not going to treat your opinion as they're not going to rate your opinion as highly as someone who has had sex, because that is going to give your opinion a more well-rounded, coherent respectability, I think, because you've actually gone through the act, and so you know about the subject that you're talking about. So you said that you were going to stay a virgin until you're married, and that's fine. To each his own. I'm not going to think any less of you because of that. But don't be surprised when people are going to treat your opinion as not as high as other people's, because you haven't had the experience that other experts in the field have. And so just don't be surprised if that happens. That's why I find it funny about the Pope sometimes when he talks about sex, because it's like, I'm going to listen to what an 8-year-old tells me to do about my sex life. I don't see any problem with that. But you're not going to do that because he doesn't have the expertise and the well-rounded attitude towards the subject in question that people have gone through and people have actually taken the time to research about it. It's kind of like when if you want to you've got some sort of symptoms and you want to find out what's wrong with you. You're going to go to a doctor with a doctorate who's spent years and years practicing his field, rather than a layman just ordinary Joe Public off the street, because this person has put in the time and the effort to go through all the subjects in his chosen field, and you're going to treat his opinion, and you're going to respect his opinion a lot more. Sex can be a beautiful and wonderful thing. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. But I contend that you can have that opinion whether you're married or whether you're in a long-term relationship. I can't see why a piece of paper is really gonna change the intimacy you have between people. But sex, it does depend on the circumstances as well. I mean, if there's a group of you going out and you go to a club, you have a few drinks, you meet someone, you take them home, and you have sex with them, then I find it very unlikely that you're going to be thinking about the deep physical connection that you're having with this person, because that's just not what you want at that time. Sex can mean different things in different situations, and that's just an example of that. I think one of your problems, Whitney, is that by saying you only have sex when you're married, is that you're hyping it up. You're making it into such a huge deal that you're going to meet someone, and maybe you think that it's got a future. You think, I'll be able to have sex with her when I get married, but then you've built it up so much in your mind that it's going to become it's going to be a massive disappointment, and that's what's going to happen if you keep hyping it up like that. It's going to be anybody who knows that the hype is damaging for something. You know, you put something of such a high priority, well, not a high priority, but something of such a high estimation in your mind, and you go through with it, and it's just not what you thought it was going to be, and that's going to be a problem if you know you're going to hype it up like that. But maybe that's just me. Maybe you don't think like that. You know, sex to me is part of a healthy relationship, and you know, that I forgot to say something. You know, what about people who were having sex before, you know, there was any notion of marriage? You know, I don't think it's very fair on them to treat them in the same way as you would us, because we know what marriage is. Obviously, there were people, you know, you probably don't believe this, but you probably think the Earth is 6,000 years old, I think. But you know, in reality, 3,000 years ago, there people were having sex, and obviously they were, because we wouldn't be here otherwise. But they didn't have any notion of marriage yet. You know, I mean, was that what they did wrong, even though they had no notion of it? And I know you won't like this word either, but you know, marriage has evolved over the centuries. I mean, there was a point where it was nothing more than a property transaction. You know, the man got the woman, and the bride's family got you know, property or a business, or you know, a large sum of money, and that's how it was done. You know, it's constantly evolved. I mean, it wasn't until the 15th, 16th century that Henry VIII, when he formed the Church of England, brought in the concept of divorce. You know, so anybody who's getting divorced out there, you have us Brits to thank for that. And yeah, it wasn't that long ago when black people weren't allowed to get married. Yet marriage has evolved. We've adapted. You know, marriage has adapted to that. You know, it hasn't crumbled. It hasn't been destroyed. The earth hasn't been taken over by Satan. And you know, I think the last crumbling, the last pillar stone of bigotry in marriage is to me is gay marriage. And once that's eroded away, you know, in my opinion, marriage will mean a lot more, because I can't see why I have to, you know, I can marry someone who I love, but a homosexual person can't marry someone who they love. Sorry, a bit of a tangent there. But as I was saying, sex is part of a healthy relationship. I'm not saying you have to have sex, but the majority of people do have sex, and it is part of a normal relationship. And I wouldn't want to take the plunge and get married unless I knew things about, like, how I was compatible with them in certain circumstances. You know, I mean, I wouldn't want to wait until after I was married and to find out that I was incompatible with, you know, my wife in bed or something. You would want to figure that out beforehand. I mean, you know, you want to know as much about this person as possible, you know, just to make sure that you have you're compatible enough in your opinions and things so that you know you would have a long and happy life together. If you you know, had sex beforehand, and you found out you were incompatible, maybe you could work through it and still get married, or you could just figure out that, you know, this is just something that we can't get past, and it's you know, you'll find someone else you're more compatible with. I mean, that's one of the main things of having a relationship, is to learn and evolve. There's that evolution word again. But yeah, that's you know, that's just my opinion. It's something that, you know, I wouldn't want to get married to someone who I didn't know something that could be quite important to us, and I don't know how I would connect with them in that particular field, that particular part of our relationship. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got to say. I know I was rambling on a bit, and I probably didn't make any interesting points, but you know, there we go. I hope it was at least a semi-decent video. Cheerio.